Brian Lung. I am a founder and now aspiring VC at HPA thanks to the great Chicago Blend program. For the past few months, I've been working on an ulcer care and wound dressing brand, and I'm here to pitch it to you today. No, I'm kidding. I'm here to talk about what I've learned in the past few months and some of the problems that our seniors are facing in the landscape right now, and how we as investors can help address some of those issues by investing in this economy that we call the silver economy. Now, you might be wondering, what's a 22-year-old like me care about the silver economy and elder tech? Well, someone who's very important to me, my grandfather, is part of that demographic. He's 85 years old, and he raised me in Asia with my grandmother. And a few years ago, when I went to college, and around the same time my grandma passed away, he's been living alone ever since. And that's why he heavily relies on tech for his everyday needs. Uber Eats, all of those apps that you can name. But he's also not very good at it. So my parents and I usually we enlist the whole family to help. We'll call him in at lunch, and then we'll try to walk him through the complex UIs of Uber, DoorDash, whatever he's using at the time. And the reason why I tell you the story is because it tells us that technology has far surpassed our expectations for how we can help our seniors. I mean, I'm remote controlling an app from miles away from my grandpa. But at the same time, technology, even today, falls short on meeting the unique needs that our senior population has. People like my grandfather. And my grandpa, he's not alone because in the world by 2050, 20% of the globe will be people aged 60 or over. And for the purpose of the presentation, we'll call them seniors. Sorry to some of you guys in the room. But that's also 2 billion people. And it's not just a one country problem. This is a global pandemic of sorts. In Japan right now, there's 30% of their population are seniors. In the US, that's 82 million people by 2050. In China, that's 435 million people. And in Europe, we average around 25% of the population being seniors. And I won't run you through the macroeconomics of why this can be a big social issue, but I'll give you a few numbers to look at so we can help put it together. 44% of seniors in the US right now have one or more disability. And according to Columbia's doctor's report, 50% of women aged 85 years old and older live alone at home right now in the US. So we can put one on one together and realize that this is a huge social problem and it's one that we're not prepared for. And it's also creating a huge market demand that we as investors can make impactful investments to fill that gap. But of course, you guys are investors and we have to look at numbers. So what do the numbers look like? $1.7 trillion, that's the global elder care market by 2050. And that's one of the fastest, if not fastest growing industries in the world. $65 trillion is the spending purchasing power that seniors will have. And that's 35% of GDP spending globally. And you would think that we're taking full advantage of this market, but we're not. And in fact, it's one of the most severely underfunded markets. Let's take a global comparison, for example. In 2021, a year after COVID, Chinese elder care robotic startups secured $5.5 billion in funding. That's the equivalent of how much US MedTech investments got in 2020. Again, we're comparing the entire MedTech investment landscape to just elder care robotic startups. These are huge differences. And in that little corner right there, that's how much US elder care startups received that year. Only $368 million. And that's 0.2% of the entire investment landscape in 2020. I know it was COVID year, but the years after, they don't stem too far from the tree. It's around the same number. So you might think, okay, maybe these startups don't perform well. Maybe they're not great for investments. Well, I don't have a big sample because, again, it's a very severely underfunded market, but we can take a look at one of the companies in that 0.2%. Papa Technologies was part of that cohort of that 0.2% that was invested in. And if you can't, in case you can't tell, that unicorn, yeah, they're a $1.3 billion business. And they help pair trained companions, usually EMTs, college nurses, with our seniors. And they help them by increasing their standard of living, companionship, and just overall better effects and benefits for everyday living. But what does that mean for investors and investments? Well, we can look at four very simple numbers. 100x in investment returns, $150 million Series D led by the very famous SoftBank Vision Fund, 600% year over year growth, and a $1.4 billion valuation. And again, this is only one of the companies. There's a lot more companies that I can list, but because of the 7-minute timer today, I'll just show you one. But what is more importantly, what does this mean for social impact with investments? Well, because of the investments that we made into Papa, 2 million American seniors can now have access to their platform all across America and in every state and over with 100 health plans. And that means, according to Papa's, 60% reduction in feelings of loneliness, which is one of the biggest issues in the senior population, feelings of loneliness. And that also led to a 68% reduction in hospital usage. So clearly, Papa has done remarkable not only for investors, but your investment has also really helped socially address this issue. So looking forward, seniors in 2 decades are not going to be the seniors today. The seniors will be baby boomers who grew up most of their adult lives using technology. And instead of focusing so much on Gen Z, millennial, Gen Alpha tech, if we just spent a little more effort and time to look into some of these technologies and startups that are innovating for the next 2 generations and 2 decades of seniors, then perhaps we'll have a lot more results. Thank you.